Have we seen the last of Daniel Ricciardo? Red Bull team principal Christian Horner sympathizes with his former driver, Daniel Ricciardo, who will leave his McLaren, his current team, a year before his contract is due to expire. Ricciardo caused a sensation by walking out of a race-winning seat at Red Bull in 2018 to join Renault. He soon moved on again, signing a 3-year deal to drive for McLaren. Ricciardo arrived in F1 with Red Bull, who backed Ricciardo during his junior career, before placing him at Hispania Racing, followed by Toro Rosso. Ricciardo transitioned over to the Red Bull team in 2014 and won 3 races in his first season. Ricciardo took 4 more wins before he left the team in 2018. In his first season with Renault, Ricciardo had a rough start to the season, but eventually started turning things around. In 2020, Ricciardo had his finest season as a driver since 2016, when he finished 5th place in the championship with 119 points, including 2 podiums and 2 fastest laps, and 11 straight races with a points finish. With such a strong season, everyone was shocked when he announced that he would be leaving Renault to go to McLaren in 2021. Ricciardo's first season with McLaren was well below everyone's expectations, but he did somewhat salvage what otherwise would be an awful season with a race win at the Italian Grand Prix. This was the first win for McLaren since the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. In 2022, we've seen a dramatic decline in Ricciardo's performance. He has been unable to get to grips with the team's car and has lagged behind teammate Lando Norris. Recently, McLaren announced that it had agreed with Ricciardo that he would not see out the final year of his deal to drive for the team next year, and his seat will be taken by rising star Oscar Piastri. Horner said it was, quote, tricky to judge what had gone wrong for Ricciardo at McLaren. What options are available for 2023? The 33-year-old Ricciardo is a well-loved character within Formula One, but is there a seat for him now that he and McLaren have announced that they would part ways after the 2022 season? Take a look at his options within F1. It has long been rumored that Haas could be an option for Ricciardo. Kevin Magnussen arrived as a last-minute replacement for Nikita Mazepin at the start of the current season, and had performed well to start the season. However, in the other seat, Mick Schumacher does not have a contract past this season, and at times has lagged behind Magnussen. As the only American team on the grid, it is no secret that although Australian, Ricciardo has a home in Los Angeles and has many ties to the United States. He would be the closest thing to an American driver for the American team. With Alfa Romeo agreeing to terms with Zhou Guanyu for 2023 and Yuki Tsunoda staying with AlphaTauri, outside of Haas, there are only 2 known seats that aren't spoken for. One at Williams and one at Alpine, formerly Renault. Williams seems like a reach for Ricciardo just to stay in F1 without much hopes of actually competing for a championship. If he couldn't get it done with a McLaren, it seems highly unlikely that he would be able to be competitive in a Williams. Alpine is a more interesting fit, since that is essentially the Renault seat he left behind at the end of 2019. Horner has gone on record to say that if he were in charge at Alpine, he would want to work with Ricciardo again. If he doesn't drive F1 in 2023, what are his chances for success coming back in 2024? Ricciardo has made it clear he is not looking to rush into any decision about his future, but remains keen to keep racing in F1 if the right opportunity comes up. Speaking on the Fitzy and Whippa radio show in Australia, Ricciardo said he still did not know what his future held, but that he was carefully considering his options along with his management team. Quote, "When I say I don't know, I don't have a contract yet for next year," said Ricciardo. Could it still happen? It could. I guess I'm not getting too caught up in next year. Of course I want to race. I want to be on the grid. I want to be competing. But I'm not kind of seeing next year as all or nothing. Obviously, 2024 is something I want to be aware of and look at. So that's kind of where I'm like, if it means taking a step back to then take 2 steps forward, then that's what we're trying to figure out at the moment, me and my team. So that could be a year off. Ricciardo added that if he did take a year off, he, quote, would still very much be in the mindset of getting back on the grid for 2024. How have drivers that have come back to F1 after some time off fared? We've seen Magnussen come back to Formula One after a year off and be relatively successful with Haas. Fernando Alonso, a two-time world champion, returned to F1 last year after a 2-year absence to pursue other racing opportunities. After leaving F1 at the end of 2018, following a 4-season stint with McLaren, Alonso raced at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the Indianapolis 500, and the Dakar Rally. Alonso enjoyed a successful comeback season with Alpine, as he scored one podium finish in Qatar, as well as playing a crucial role in teammate Esteban Ocon's shock victory in Hungary. Alonso said earlier in the year that he had enjoyed his F1 comeback more than he expected, and reflected on the season as a whole as being, quote, "a good year for me. On track and off track, I did enjoy the time with the team, and in this comeback, I was super happy," Alonso said. Alonso would go on to say, quote, "Normally, only a small number of drivers are permitted to compete in Formula One, and such opportunities are scarce. I felt thankful for this." So, coming back to F1 after some time off is not unprecedented, and there are recent examples of drivers taking a year or two off from F1 and coming back successfully. For all the Daniel Ricciardo fans, if he does indeed take a year off, it is possible we will see him back in 2024. That is it from today's video. We hope you enjoyed the content of the video. If you did, show some love and hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss out on our amazing and informative videos in the future. Rev it up and have a great day!